Hello everyone and welcome to another Wild Rift guide. In today's video we are going to do a full detailed guide on Morgana. We will talk about the abilities, combos, build, runes and finally tips and tricks that you did not know about Morgana. So get ready and let's get started. Morgana has always been one of the most powerful enchanters in Wild Rift, that provides a flexible utility and an array of crowd control to pressure enemies in the lane with her annoying pokes. She is usually played as a support, mid lane or as a jungler. Her jungle clear is one of the fastest in the game if not the fastest. This gives her the advantage of getting ahead in the game as early as possible. Her black shield allows you to play aggressively without having to worry too much about CC. Her ultimate is super strong in team fights and can be used to hit or stun all enemies surrounding her. If you enjoy the content, it really helped me out if you leave a like, comment on the video and subscribe to my channel. So without further delay, let's get to our ultimate Morgana guide. Let's start with her abilities. Her passive, Soul Siphon. Morgana heals for 20% of the damage dealt with abilities against champions, large minions and large monsters. So basically this passive is a heal to Morgana whenever she deals damage to enemy champions or large monsters. As you guys can see, when I use abilities I heal up a small percentage of health. This passive suits Morgana perfectly thanks to her poking abilities. Next is the first ability, Dark Binding. Morgana fires a bolt of dark energy, rooting the first enemy hit for 2.5 seconds and dealing magic damage. This ability has a huge range and the 2.5 seconds duration can secure kills easily. As you can see, when I use this ability I root the enemy dummy for 2.5 seconds and dealing magic damage. You can use first ability then flash to catch out the enemy with this ability. If the enemy buys Mercury's treads, then the duration of your first ability's root will be decreased. Next is the second ability, Tormented Shadow. Curses an area for 5 seconds, dealing 22 magic damage every 0.5 seconds to enemies within the cursed area, increased by up to 170%, based on their missing health. It also deals magic damage to monsters. This ability's cooldown is reduced by 5% whenever you trigger your passive. So to explain this, I'm going to use my second ability on the enemy dummy. And as you can see, the dummy takes damage every 0.5 seconds he stays within the area of this ability. It also works on minions, jungle monsters and on objectives like dragons or Rift Herald. Also, the lower the HP of your enemy, the more damage you will deal. Last thing you need to know about this ability is that if I use this ability followed by any other abilities, this will trigger my passive Soul Siphon. Then the cooldown of my second ability will be reduced significantly. So as long as you keep triggering your passive by damaging the enemies, this will reduce the cooldown of your second ability much faster. This makes Morgana farm much faster. Next is the third ability, Black Shield. Places a barrier around an allied champion for 5 seconds, absorbing magic damage and blocking disables while the shield holds. I'm going to use this ability on an allied dummy and you can see there is a shield around my ally. You can also use this shield on Morgana as well. This blocks damage for my ally, and also any crowd control like stuns and slows will not affect myself or my ally until the 5 seconds duration is down or until I receive enough damage that destroys this shield. After the shield is destroyed, any stuns or slows will affect me. Next is the ultimate, Soul Shackles. Chains nearby enemies, dealing magic damage equals to 18% of their maximum health. The chain persists for 3 seconds, revealing and slowing by 15% movement speed. When the duration ends, chain targets are stunned for 1.5 seconds and dealt magic damage. Morgana gains 15% movement speed as long as the chain lasts. So this ability is used to stun the enemy, slowing them down and dealing magic damage to multiple targets. So if I use this ability on the enemy dumb as here, after 5 seconds they will be stuns and receiving magic damage, all of them. This ability is a very good ability in team fights. If an enemy gets out of range of my ultimate during the seconds, they will not get stunned, so only enemies in my chain area will get stunned. Another thing you need to know about this ability, and that is if you use stasis enchant after you use your ultimate, the enemies will still get stunned after the seconds hold time. Next is Morgana's combos. Tips and tricks. Morgana is pretty weak in the early game, but she gets a lot stronger after level 5. If you play Morgana in mid lane, you should focus on poking the enemy mid laner with your first ability and third ability. You can use your third ability for wave clear while damaging enemy mid laner if he stays in the area of the ability. When played as a jungler, you can clear multiple camps at the same time, which is something not many junglers can do. I will show you how to do it. This is the way to clear multiple camps at once. Stand between both camps and make sure that the big monsters don't reset while your second ability is dealing damage to them. Unfortunately, it's hard to multi-camp red and raptors without resetting the small raptors, but that's not a problem as you can just finish off the small ones after you're done with the red buff. The same thing applies to the blue buff side area where you can also multi-camp at the same time. Now for the build and runes. For the item build, you start with Luden's Echo, which gives you ability power, mana and ability haste. Then you buy Oblivion Orb for the anti-heal effect. For the boots, you buy Ionian Boots of Lucidity, then upgrade that into Stasis. Next is Rylai's Crystal Edge, gives you ability power, health and slow effect. Rabadon's Deathcap gives you insane amount of ability power. Void Staff gives you ability power and magic penetration. For the runes, Airy for poking damage. Gathering Storm to gain more ability power for scaling in the late game. Hunter Titan for health and tenacity.